Hello, hello, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Come on in, ladies. We have a great show for you guys this evening. I'm so excited. And as you guys know, I always bring a special guest with me. This is Nights with Nora. My name is Nora Brown. I'm the founder and CEO of Girl Talk Inc. And I do these weekly podcasts to help you guys with, guess what? Your mental health. Mental health is so incredibly important for all of us, but especially as women. And this week, we're talking about the mental health of women in business. Being a business owner can be incredibly challenging, but when you're a woman who runs a family and you have all the things and you wear all the hats, it can be even more challenging. So I have a special guest here with me today, and she is going to talk to you guys a little bit about how she manages in her small business as a woman in business. So I want to introduce you guys to Miss Tameka Jackson. She has done incredible things in our community. And I was just talking to her guys backstage, and we were talking about a community event that we met at. So she's been out there just like I have. So if you guys have seen me in the Tulsa community, you probably seen Miss Jackson as well. But I'll allow her to introduce her business and tell us a little bit about who she is and what her business is doing in the community. Go ahead, Tameka.
Hey everybody, I'm Tameka Jackson and I own Black Opulence Event Planning. We specialize in weddings and birthday parties, but we help set up baby showers, community events. Last year with Venue 918, we hosted the business table of young entrepreneurs, where we brought in a lot of local business owners and they talked to young entrepreneurs about their journey of how they got started and what they're facing now and how to overcome a lot of that.
Wow. Okay. What was the name of the organization?
So the name of the event that we did was the Business Table for Young Entrepreneurs, and I hosted that with Venue 918.
Oh, that's pretty cool. Bringing in young entrepreneurs. I like that idea. That's a good idea. I always like to reach back. Growing up, my mom used to always say, "Each one teach one." So that's so good to have that. That ability to reach back and collaborate with young people and teach them your skills. So that's awesome. So we'll get right into this, you guys, because this is all about mental health. And you guys know that that's what we talk about on our platform, especially for women. I am a women's empowerment coach, and I talk to women all day, every day about how to figure out ways to insert mental health into their busy lives. And this is no different from what we've done before. I talk a lot about self care and all these things and how to slow down and take time for yourself. So, Tameka, what are some of the common challenges that you face as a woman in business when it comes to trying to get your mental health together or just, taking time out for yourself?
So I'm one of those type of people. I'm like, I gotta go, I gotta do this, and I'm always piling one project onto the next project. I'm like, oh, I gotta do
Mm,
this, I gotta do this, and then I end up getting overworked and overwhelmed. And I learned a lot of people came to me was like, stop. I'm like, but I gotta get it done. They're like, no, you are going.
right, but I got to get it done.
Yes. And it was constantly, I'm a people pleaser by nature. I've always been. And it was like, no, you
Mm,
need to think of yourself. Take a step back. I had another
wow.
planner. She didn't told me, she yelled at me a couple of times. She was like, take your break today. I was like, I had to, no, turn your phone off and just stop. So I actually started to meditate in the morning. I take me a little breather, sit back and relax. I'm like, oh my God, I needed this. And you don't realize how much you've taken on until you step back and sit down. I was like, oh my God, did I really just
Right.
spend the past 2 weeks going with no breaks? And I've done that a lot lately. And I had to tell myself, stop, like 100% stop doing that.
Right. And that's me too. I totally can agree with the million hats and try to do everything at once and get it all perfect. And you said another thing that's almost triggering for me is that people pleaser word. Oh my goodness. I feel like that has been the story of my life for all of my life. And recently, I'm 38 now, but I say sometime in my 30, probably my mid 30s, around 33, 35, I decided I wasn't going to be that girl anymore. And I
Mhm.
started putting up boundaries and really trying to move away, but I still find myself fighting to not be that.
Oh.
Where do you feel like that people pleasing mentality comes from? Like, talk a little bit about your own personal battle with people pleasing.
So it's hard to say this because I love my parents so much.
Mm-hmm.
But I spent my childhood bouncing from between my mom and my dad my whole life until I got to high school. And at a
Oh,
point, I was like, And it kind of makes me want to cry because I'm thinking about it. And I was like, with my mom, why wasn't I good enough for you? You know, like I did
Mm,
this, I tried to be the perfect daughter, and I kept doing that. And it was like, why isn't it good enough? So that carried on throughout my life. And I'm like, oh my God, if I give, will this be good enough? And I finally started to learn like sometimes it's just not enough. And me and my mom had a real tough conversation where we sat down and she was like, well, as a parent, I thought if I was bringing in all the money and making sure you had a roof over your head, you're okay. I was like, no, you don't have to be, because she's a truck driver and she brings
mm,
in money. She was like, hey, as long as this is paid for, you're good. And I'm like, no, I actually needed my mom then. You know,
right.
like I was young and I was basically raising my younger brother. And then I look back,
Mm,
I was like, that's all she knew because she was also programmed, hey, work, 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 work. And now she's
mm,
she was like, I should have been there for you more. And I feel like I didn't want to pass that on because I have three girls. And my
mm-hmm,
oldest is about to be 18. I look back on how I raised her. I'm like, was I there enough? Like I
mm,
games and I want to be present at all that. But I'm like, I got my full-time job. I run my business. I got four kids. Like I'm wearing all these hats and I want to
right.
show my kids, hey, you can have it all, but you also need to be aware of what you're doing as well.
Wow, that's such a good takeaway. It's always so hard to try to find that balance
Oh yeah.
and between motherhood and being a spouse or a wife or wherever you may be in that area, and then finding areas for yourself, for self-care for yourself. It's always this battle of wheels, like which one is more important at the time. And that was actually going to be my next question to you, is how do you balance everything? Like, because I know like they've written books about that, is seminars. I even coach my clients on work-life balance. And sometimes you want to shoot the messenger, right? Because sometimes we don't practice what we preach. We
Ooh,
come up with all these great, and I have all these great philosophies, and I can help everybody named mama but myself, right? And so I battled with this work-life balance thing forever as a business owner, as a working mom, a business owner, and a mom, and a wife, and a sister, and trying to have social life,
oh,
and it's just it drives you insane, especially for people pleasers or people who are full of anxiety. Because I noticed that people pleasing and anxiety kind of like streamline themselves into each other,
yes.
and then you create this you can even flood into panic attacks, right? And
Mhm.
I've had those because I want everything to be perfect. And also another word that we can throw in there would be perfectionism, right? We want to be
Oh yeah.
perfect. We want to we want to run those businesses perfectly. We want to make sure we're crossing all the T's, dotting all the I's. The hats are
Mhm.
looking good while we're trying to pretend like they not driving us crazy. I remember that book growing up in elementary, about the man with the hats, and they would pile all up on top of his head. And I felt like that guy with all the hats at one point in my career. And it's hard to bring work life balance to yourself when you don't know what's more important. Your kids are incredibly important. It's very important to pursue your career. It's very important to do self care. Health is important. You're aware, you're self aware, you understand these things. But how do I bring balance to that? What are you doing in your own life, Tameka, that's kind of bringing balance? Or what have you tried? I'm not saying you got it perfect, but what have you tried to do to try to bring balance into all of this stuff that we try to deal with?
I have become the queen of sticky notes and calendars. Like
Oh,
I have
yeah.
so many. You can look at my calendar now. You have my daughter's schedule in green. Well, my oldest in green. You got my schedule in black. You have another one in red. It's all there. So I'm like, okay, I need to do this, this, and this. There's a game this day. I have a meeting this day. Oh, there's sticky notes of every color of the rainbow. I know
Right.
it seems and it looks chaotic, but I was like, okay, I know where everything is. My Google Calendar on my phone, it never stops going off. Thing
Wow.
is, I learned business hours are 9 to 6.
Wow.
That's it. I will not go past that because after that, I'm on my mode. My kids get 100% of my attention. And it's
Hmm.
four of them. So I have the oldest talking about this job, then this one talking about her job. My son want to talk about soccer and video games. My youngest want to do her nails. So I got that scheduled out. I'm like, hey, I know it seems kind of methodical and like, ooh, that's a lot going on, but that's how my brain works. So I have
Hmm.
to have that routine in me to say, hey, I need to focus on work here. I need to go home, cook dinner, and then I'm spending time with my kids, and then it's time to go to sleep. Even though my brain
Wow.
don't shut off and say go to sleep because I'm in the middle of the night doing all
Wow.
kinds of stuff. But yeah,
Yeah, it's
it's
like you always in go mode.
yes,
Whenever I go on vacation, it's so funny. I just came back from vacation, but whenever I go on vacation, I have to take 2 days just to detox, right? Just to slow my mind down
yeah,
and my body. So I have to, like, a 2 day vacation is not a vacation for me because it's like a weekend. I'm not gonna get. I have to take a couple days to literally settle my body down and get out of mom mode, my calendars, because I'm like you. I love a good calendar and I love a good sticky note because I feel like I haven't been diagnosed with ADHD, but I feel like that's what's happening to me. And this is no shade or anything to people
mhm,
who struggle with ADHD because it is really a disorder. But being able to stay in line and be able to keep on track, because me, I'll go in the laundry room and I'll walk past the kids' room, and next thing I'm cleaning the kids' room, and now I'm like, oh, I got the clothes in my hand. I forgot what I was doing. And you got a million different things going at once. You got the kids' clothes going. You got the laundry you already had in your hand. You got the dishwater running that you were washing dishes with. And it's just, it goes on. And you feel like at the end of the day, you don't have anything done, right? It's just like,
right,
and so now I have a to-do list where I go through and I mark off so I can see a visual list of things I've got done. So I can say, okay, Nora, I'm patting myself on the back. I got one,
yeah,
two, three, four things done today, even if it's returning something to Walmart or, finally putting away those, clothes that's been in my luggage for, forever.
right,
And so that's always helped. So yes, I am a calendar girl. I am a sticky note girl. I am a planner girl. I am a phone reminder girl. Like I have to have all that. So I love that. That is definitely so important.
yeah.
So but anyway, so what is something that you advise to brand new business owners that happen to be women or moms or wearing these hats? What's one thing that you learned or you stumbled upon as a businesswoman that you want to share with other women?
This one was super hard for me, and it's ask for help.
Oh.
It is okay to ask for help. You do not have to be super mom because my brother actually said to me, "You are superwoman," and I'm like, "What?" He is like, "You help me with all my stuff. Then you have the kids stuff, and you have mama stuff, and then this and the other." And I
Right.
had to learn, hey, it's okay. Get a village of women behind you. It's okay to be like, hey, I can't be super today. It
Right.
is okay. You don't have to take on everything. You don't have to have the world on your shoulders. And if
Right.
you do have a village of people, make sure they got your back like you have their back. Because sometimes
Right.
you gonna learn the hard way. You didn't say this person's my friend and that person's my friend, and they really not.
Mm-hmm. That
That's
is
what I
so
learned.
true. Getting help and just asking for help, period. Sometimes, like you said, as a people pleaser or someone who is always a leader. Because I think what people don't realize as as business owners, that you are a leader in your own right. Because if you're stepping out, running your own business, you have to have some type of leadership skills within you. And so you're used to being in charge or running the thing or not having the problem. You're used to solving problems, not having problems.
Right.
And so when you're always solving problems, it's hard to want to even look and see that you need help or you need assistance or to even admit that to somebody, right? And so that's really good. I like that. So business owners, ladies, y'all, I hope y'all taking that away. And I did notice somebody asked me a question, y'all. I don't know why this thing was private. It just became a public in my other group. But I know y'all here now. Thank you guys. So share this, like this, do all of those things. Because this is a really good podcast. Miss Tameka's dropping gems on us tonight. She said we need to go out and get some help. If you need help, you need to go out and get the help. Don't try to do
Yes.
everything yourself.
Yeah.
I learned that the hard way. I was trying to take my business from a side hustle or something I did to a legitimate business. And in
Mhm.
order to do that, I needed help. I needed someone
Right.
outside my own hands. I needed help outside my own mind and my own creativity. I needed someone to organize me. I just told y'all I'll be moving like an ADHD person. So I needed someone who was more grounded and more organized, who didn't have all of this stuff that they have. So reaching out for help is incredibly important to the heartbeat of your business.
Yes.
And that's something I learned the hard way, the very hard way. This is year 3 for me as an actual business, being, an actual legalized business. But y'all, I've been in the game since 2009. Okay. A long time to be just kind of running around in circles. So take this advice if you ladies are hearing it and you're listening in and you're thinking about your mental health. It will even alleviate some of the stress and the anxiety that you
Yeah.
feel because you're no longer holding this burden alone. You have help. Okay. So get some help.
Exactly.
All right. So
Yeah.
anyway, go ahead and tell us what you got planned for the future for your business. Talk a little bit about how you came to be with this business and what it all means. Tell us a little bit about your history.
So my history goes all over the place. I started
Okay.
when I was young with call center work. I was always on the phone answering the next phone call. And I was like, I can't do this. Like, I do not want to be on the phone all day, but I did it for years upon years. And then I stumbled into event planning. I took the courses through QVC and all that. And I was like, oh, yeah, I'm going to do this. And then somehow it got pushed to the back burner. I was like, yeah, it's not the right time for me. It's just no. So
Right.
then COVID hit. And then I was like, I like showing houses. Let me go on and get my real estate license. I thought I was doing good, passed the test on my first try. I'm like, yes, I'm ready. And then it was like, Tameka, this is not your thing. Like, as much as people brag about real estate, it's like, oh, you can make this money, all this and that. If you look at the size of the market in Tulsa and how many real estate agents there are, it is very, very saturated. It's a lot.
Right.
I've been in plenty of groups and I've at least 3 to 4 real estate agents there. And then actually going through the process, I'm like, ooh, this is not for me. I'll show you a house all day. Like I could be the best tour guide, best everything. But behind the scenes, all that paperwork, negotiating, just dealing with people, that just was not my thing.
Right.
And then I got to thinking, I was helping my brother with his wedding. And he was
Mm.
like, why didn't you start doing that? So I was like, yeah, I took the classes and everything. Let me go back to that. So I did a little bit more studying and more research. I was like, yep, this is what I want to do. And ever since then, I didn't hit the ground running and I absolutely love it.
Wow.
Don't get me wrong. I have my days where I'm like, ooh.
Right, exactly.
But
Wow.
it's truly my passion at the end of the day. I wouldn't trade it for anything.
That's awesome. So like what was one of your favorite events that I mean, I know your brother's wedding was one of the things that kind of sparked that for you, but what was your all-time favorite event so far that you've done with your company?
Oh,
I
so
know I came out of nowhere with that. I got to make you think. You might have to think back on that one.
yes. You know what? As many weddings as I've done, I absolutely love them all because they each have that one special moment. Like this last wedding I had a couple of weekends ago, the bride and groom was having their first dance, and I just happened to look over at the groom, and he is beautifully singing to the bride, and I'm like, oh my god. It was just
Oh.
that moment between the two and them, and it's like nobody else mattered, and I'm just like, you can see they were entranced with each other. And moments like
Mm,
that, I'm like, this is exactly why I do it. Just
wow.
moments like that, and it's not even my moment.
Right, but you know what? I'm a hopeless romantic, so I would probably be in that with like,
Yes.
I love a good love story. I love a
Yes.
wedding. I love a proposal. I used to, which is so funny. I used to go through before I got married. I even still do it now. Honestly, I've been married for about 5 years, but before I got married, I used to watch proposals on YouTube. Like that was my thing. Before TikTok got real popular and you can see it on there, I would go on YouTube and type in proposals, and I would just watch them because the sheer happiness in people's faces and
Yes.
they would be elaborate. People would be flying in on helicopters, and they had their whole family flown in, and all of that. Like I love a good wedding and a good
Mm,
proposal. So that's awesome. We love that for
yes.
you. I'm glad you get to see that type of stuff all the time. That is so good. So, what do you do for self care? Like when it comes to getting some free time for you, Miss Tameka, what do you do to keep yourself grounded and take care of you with all the business?
So I actually had to do this the other day.
Mm-hmm.
It was so much chaos going on. I just left everything and went and got some ice cream.
Yeah.
Like I just needed 2 seconds to myself to enjoy a little bitty small ice cream cone, and I'm good. I
Mm.
know you don't need a lot, but it's just the little things in life that just pick you up. And at that time, that's all I needed was a little ice cream cone. or I
Wow.
sit back and I meditate, or I go in my backyard. It's overgrown right now, so I gotta go cut my grass. But I love sitting in my little oasis and my little patio chairs and enjoy a book. I love to read. I'm one of those people, I'm constantly trying to learn something. So it's either a fictional book or non-fictional. I'm learning or I'm just enjoying the book. That's my
Mm.
thinking right there.
Yes, I love a good book too. I feel like we got a lot in common because I love a good book, I love a good love story, and I love weddings. So all the above, that's so awesome. And sometimes people think self care is just like this big elaborate thing where you got to book a cruise. It really isn't. I think it's small moments that add up to bigger moments.
Yeah.
Because sometimes I go on vacation and I'm exhausted for planning the dang vacation, right? Because I got to do all the things that it takes to do it, and I'd rather just go to Target, because I feel good in Target.
Yes.
I'll and I've said this before on a couple podcasts to my ladies and girl talk, but I literally go to Target and park in the parking lot, and I'll get my favorite. Before I go to Target, I'll stop at my favorite restaurant, or a
Mhm.
sweet treat or whatever, or even a book, and I will lay my seat back and I will park. I don't know, I feel safe at Target. But I will park, girl, and I will be listening to music. I will be eating my snack, whatever I have, and I just stay there for an
Yes.
hour or two. My husband called me. I'm like, listen, I'm shopping. This is my me time. Leave me alone. I don't have to book
Yep.
no trips. I ain't got to pay no money. And it's just so fun to do that. So self care is so important.
Yeah.
It's something I think as business owners and as women that we don't do enough of, honestly. I think we get lost in the idea of just our business and trying to make it and trying to succeed, that
Hmm.
we get so overwhelmed that we forget about ourselves. We leave ourselves behind. So this
Yeah.
has been so good. I've been enjoying hearing about all the stuff that you do. Is there anything else you wanted to add, or you want to, one last thing you want to tell the ladies? Is there anything else you want to add?
Basically, have fun doing what you do. Don't do a career or a job or a passion that you just are over. A lot of people say, hey, I'm in this, I love it, but this. If you love it, there shouldn't be a but to it. Be
Right.
happy. Like, whatever you do, be happy. I love hearing everybody else's story. So that's why I network a lot. But then I hear those people's like, yeah, no, I'm over this. What do you enjoy? I don't
Mm,
know. Like, find your passion in life. And yes, some passions don't come with a lot of money, but that is okay. It's your passion. It's not this person's passion. It's yours.
yeah.
That's basically
That's
what I want to say.
That's awesome. I like that. That's great advice because your passion is definitely got to be yours, and you have to own it.
Mm,
And a lot of times I thought about, like, I had a passion for stuff, but I didn't know if I could do that and have a career, right? I
right?
think sometimes we struggle with that too. Is that crossover? We're coming from being employees to employers, or
Yeah,
running our own business, whether that's a solopreneur, or running a corporation of our own, or whatever we have aspirations to do. I think it's hard for us to do that and find balance in what we love to do versus what's going to make us some money, right?
right.
And we get in that trap, right? And it keeps us held hostage. And I think a lot of times that's why a lot of us as business owners don't make it, is because we have the death grip on that job, or that extra thing that you
Yeah,
got going on, and those hours that you pour into that business. You could be putting into your own, but we don't have that faith. I'm a believer. I'm a Christian. I talk about that a lot on my podcast, of being a true believer, but I had to step out on faith. It was scary to leave a 9 to 5 that was stable and the income was there every month, but it just wasn't enough. You know what I mean? Like, I wanted to
right.
do more for myself. I wanted to not only have my bills paid, but I wanted my heart happy as well. I wanted a peace of mind. I was tired of being stressed and overworked and underpaid and
Yep.
unappreciated and doing all this work for people that had no appreciation for me, and I didn't have any appreciation for myself or the quality of life that I wanted for myself. And so I had to break away from that. And I guess this is my last question to you, but how did you make that transition into really pouring into your business and kind of like transitioning away? I don't know what your status is, but talk to me a little bit about, like, going over from working a 9 to 5 to the business, or how is that going for you right now?
So I'm actually still doing my 8 to 5, but the thing is, I'm working with the organization that's 100% supportive. If I
Oh,
need to
wow.
go to a meeting, they're like, "Hey, you have this much time. Go ahead and do it." or if I need to run down the street real quick to pick up something before the store closed, they are 100% behind me. So I'm very, very thankful that I have the company that I'm with. Because if it wasn't, I know a lot of places like, oh no, you're on the clock from this time to this time.
Right.
Yeah, I don't have to
Yeah,
worry
yeah,
about
all
that,
that strict
thankfully.
crazy stuff. Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know that very well. And it wears on your mental health when you constantly
Yeah.
have to do things that you don't want to do and you feel unappreciated and you feel overworked and overwhelmed. Like it tears you down to a place. And I remember going into that, dealing with that and becoming a new mom at the same time. And that was a lot for me to deal with and to juggle being a new brand mom and always being underappreciated at my job. I remember having my first daughter and then going right back to work maybe 2 months later and just realizing, I think when I had my children, life started to really balance out for me because I was workaholic. Okay, y'all. Like I wanted to get the job done. I wanted to at some point be a executive CEO. Like I was ready to climb that ladder. I had the degrees behind me. I had always worked hard my whole life. So working hard for people and making people happy, going back to that people pleasing, right? Going back to that
Hmm.
making people happy, want to make my mama proud type of attitude.
Yep.
I would find people who would replace my mom, right? So when I was a little kid, I was always making my parents happy. Then when I got big, it turned into my teachers and then my bosses. It was always finding someone to please or make happy or make proud of me. And I still wear that on my shoulder today, but it's under control now more than it's ever been. But I go back to say that the mental state that you're in when those things are happening to you is poor, and I had to evaluate that. And so walking away from my job, I now been 3 years clean. I say, walking away from my job was huge. Like that was a big deal. It was like I was disappointing my mama or something, even though them was people who didn't even know me. Like I only worked for that company for 6 years, but I felt like them was people I needed to make happy and I needed to
Right.
make them and I would go through great lengths. I would work 70, 60 hour weeks
Ooh.
and do all of that stuff and have no satisfaction, right? And
Mhm.
so now looking back on that, I'm like, girl, what were you doing? This is so free. And I set my own schedule. I have my sticky notes together. Like I'm out here making money, my own money. I remember when I had my first client and they paid me. Let me tell y'all, like I was lit. I'm like, oh my God, I can do this. Like what, and then it's just been like, even and I've been doing, I've been 3 years out, but my last year has been incredible. So I want to encourage women to step out on faith. Step out on faith and do the things that you actually love to do. Like it's crazy. Like people like don't really understand. Like when you step out on faith and you let God handle your business, things listen y'all, things begin to fall in place when God puts his hand on your life. There is nothing else that can stop it. And that was, I had a God on my life kind of year this year and last year, and because of that I've been able to step out on faith and do whatever I needed to do in this arena. And money has not been an issue, y'all, because everything you have is all you need. And I did not know that. I feel like I did not really grasp that concept in my head, is that it was within me the whole time. That
Mm.
same leadership skills that I showed at work, that same way that I got straight A's, that same way I was still that girl. Like that, those companies will have you forget that you're that girl. And I hope that this podcast and hearing me and Miss Tameka talk is reminding you guys that you are that girl. Like you
Yes.
can do whatever you set your mind to. Like you can get out and do this thing and do it well and successfully. And to my business owners that are new brand and you are scared, don't be. 5 years from now, 3 years from now, you will be thanking yourself for doing the work that you are doing right now. So I
Yes.
love it. I love all of this. I love what you're doing, Tameka. I love what you're doing with your event planning business. I think that's incredible. I've always loved planning events. I don't have the knack to mess with the people that do all the stuff. So thank God for your patience and all the things that you do. But anyway, tell the ladies how they can reach you on social media. Tell
Mhm.
us how we can find you and stay in touch. And how can we book you? Go ahead. Tell us a little bit about that.
You can find me on everything: Facebook, Instagram. They're both at Black Opulence Events. I'm on TikTok, Tameka the Planner. You can find me on LinkedIn, like any social media platform, you can find me. You can text me. You can go to my website, blackopulenceevents.com, and you can book your time for a one-on-one session so we can get your consultation done.
Awesome. So you guys, I'm going to drop all her links at the end of this video. in the comments section. So y'all go hit the comments and y'all can see all her information. And she's on here now. So you guys, I've tagged her in this post. So you guys follow her, like, do all of those things. Or even if you don't want the service, recommend her to someone else who could use it, because I love a good recommendation. Okay. So make sure y'all recommend her to your friends, your family, your co-workers, whoever in need of an event planner. She is the woman for the job. Okay. And thank you, sis, for coming on this podcast. I really appreciate you. I hope this does wonders for your business. I hope it brings you clients and that you have one of the most successful years that you've had yet.
Thank you. And I am so thankful for you. Like,
You
I love
welcome.
everything that you do. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate you coming on here. All right, ladies, and we'll be back next week with another business owner. I'm so proud of the women in this community for standing out and striking out, especially women of color. I specifically targeted women of color in this series, and I do all women. You know, I love everyone, but I wanted to specifically target women of color because I feel like we have an extra struggle that is an additional to us. And I wanted to bring light to the women in this community, in the Tulsa, Oklahoma community. And I know I have women all over the world watching my podcast because, you know, I'm that girl. But I know I have y'all all over the world and all over the city. I even got my friends and family from all over watching too. I love y'all and I want y'all to support, support, support. Whenever I bring people on this podcast, you guys always blow up y'all support. So please do the same for Tameka at Black Opulence Event Planning. Y'all support, love on her, pour into her business. Whatever you guys can do to help, even if it's sharing, we love that too. And so please do that. So thank you again, Tameka, for coming. And I hope to see you again soon here on our podcast.
Thanks, guys. You guys
All
have a great
right.
one.
All right, ladies, y'all have a good night. And I will see you guys next week for another Nights with Nora.